There is a kind of knowledge that changes not what you see, but how you see. It doesn't arrive as a loud revelation or a sudden epiphany. It filters into your awareness like a quiet, persistent whisper, telling you that the veil of reality is far thinner than you were led to believe. The feeling is like a systemic failure in the code of your life, a premonition of a crash in the very operating system of your perception. You have felt it, haven't you? That fleeting sensation that the world around you is a meticulously crafted stage with invisible walls and a pre-written script. The creeping realization that the rules you live by were authored by someone else for a purpose that has been kept from you. This is not paranoia. This is the awakening of your intuition to a fundamental truth about the nature of control. It's the slow understanding that the systems you built for your life are no longer functioning, like an outdated program collapsing under the weight of new data. You cannot pinpoint a single cause, yet everything feels brittle, saturated with both immense potential and imminent collapse. Most people actively avoid this state. They spend their entire lives patching up the old systems, reinforcing the walls between what they know and what they could become. They talk about paradigm shifts, but refuse to abandon the paradigms that offer them comfort. They ask for a new reality, but are terrified when the universe begins to clear the land to build it. They label this feeling a conspiracy theory to quickly return to the cozy prison of their familiar beliefs, to the predictable matrix, even if it confines them. The unknown terrifies them more than their own captivity. But your path is different. You are here because you kept asking questions, even when the answers made you uncomfortable to those around you. Every time you sense the falsehood in the officially sanctioned version of events, every time you noticed how public opinion shifted in unison, as if on command from an unseen conductor, every time you stood before your own limitations and refused to turn away, all of it was for a reason. You were unconsciously cultivating the capacity to withstand this chaos. You were training your perception for what you are about to understand now. The story begins with a man who saw the architecture of this system. His name was Itzhak Bentov. He was not a politician or a spy. He was a consciousness researcher who understood that the cosmos is a giant, interconnected hologram where every fragment contains the whole. He described the universe not as a void filled with objects, but as a living, vibrating field of pure information. He argued that our consciousnesses are not isolated islands, but waves in one boundless ocean. On the physical level, we are separate, but on the higher planes of the soul, of the spirit, we intersect, merging into a single, omnipresent whole. His work promised humanity something incredible: the understanding that death is merely a change in frequency, and the boundaries between self and other are an illusion. He demonstrated that the human body is not just a biological machine, but a finely tuned biocosmic receiver, capable of resonating with the entire universe. The heart, in his theory, is an oscillator, sending rhythmic waves throughout the body, synchronizing us with the Earth's electromagnetic field. He said that meditation was not just a way to calm down, but a precise technology for calibrating this internal instrument to access information beyond the physical senses. He had cracked the code of reality. He was on his way to tell the world about it. and his plane never reached its destination. This was not a tragic accident. It is a pattern. History is filled with such accidents. When knowledge becomes too powerful, when it threatens to liberate rather than to control, the system removes its carrier. But knowledge, like energy, does not disappear. It cannot be destroyed. It is simply captured, repurposed, and weaponized. Years later, Bentov's work surfaced. Not in scientific journals, not in university archives, but in the declassified files of the Central Intelligence Agency. A document titled The Gateway Process. They took his map of the universe and turned it into a manual for navigating the minds of others. They saw in his discoveries not a path to unity, but the ultimate weapon. Where Bentov sought enlightenment, they saw a strategic advantage. Where he saw oneness, they saw a way to divide and conquer. Consider for a moment, why would intelligence agencies be so deeply invested in metaphysics? Because they understood. If consciousness can indeed transcend space and time, it offers limitless possibilities. Remote viewing, the perfect form of espionage with no physical risk. The ability to glimpse probable futures, to calculate an enemy's moves. And most chillingly, the potential to influence thoughts and decisions from a distance. The ultimate high ground is not geographic, it is perceptual. They understood the master secret. To control a person, you don't need to change the facts. You don't even need to lie. You only need to slightly alter the lens through which they view those facts. They began to study how a state of confusion, of cognitive dissonance, opens the mind to any suggestion. They learned that if you overload the brain with contradictions, it enters a state akin to a freefall, and it will grasp onto the first solid, simple, and clear idea offered to it. They researched biological entrainment, the use of inaudible rhythms and invisible light pulsations to attune the brain waves of an entire group of people to a desired state, passivity, aggression, or euphoria. They turned spiritual practices into technologies of control. Do you think this is a story about the past? About secret labs and Cold War spy games? That operating system of control was not decommissioned. It was simply updated to a global version. It was moved from classified facilities onto the screen you are holding in your hands right now. The corporations that grew under the tutelage and funding of these same agencies built the perfect infrastructure for total data collection and behavioral modeling. They call it improving the user experience and personalized advertising. In reality, they are creating the most accurate predictive model of your behavior, your fears, your desires, and your beliefs that has ever existed. They are building your digital twin, which allows them to know what you will do even before you are consciously aware of it yourself. Every click, every like, every comment, every search query, even the hesitation as you scroll past an image. It is not just data. It is a brushstroke on your psychological portrait. It is a brick in the construction of your personalized, engineered reality. The algorithm knows which headline will trigger your fear, which image will awaken your envy and sense of inadequacy, which news story will make you feel righteous and hate those who think differently. It knows the precise moment of vulnerability to show you an ad for a product that promises comfort. But here is the most devastating and brilliant part of this mechanism. Your brain does not passively react to the world. It actively predicts and constructs it, using all of your past experiences, all the data you have ever received. And he who controls the data stream you consume, therefore controls the very reality your brain will construct for you. It is the perfect feedback loop. They show you a world full of conflict and division, and your brain learns to expect conflict and see enemies everywhere. They show you thousands of success stories based on external glamour and consumption, and your brain learns to equate happiness with purchases and social status. They create a digital echo chamber where everyone agrees with you, and you slowly lose the ability for critical thought and dialogue. You are not just consuming content. You are allowing it to program your next thought, your next emotion, your next decision. Your attention has become the most valuable resource on the planet, a battlefield for your perception. And your reality is the trophy in this war. That is precisely why you feel this internal tension, this inexplicable fatigue and anxiety. It is not you going crazy. It is your inner essence, your authentic self, desperately resisting this invasion. It is your internal operating system trying to reboot, to purge the malware that was installed without your consent. The breakthrough is not a rebellion against the system. It is not about escaping to the woods and abandoning technology. It is the awareness that you are inside of it. And that is the first step toward reclaiming your sovereignty of perception. To begin to question the emotions that are being pushed on you. To ask yourself a simple question before you react. Is this my thought, or a thought that was just handed to me? It means starting to choose your information consciously, as you would choose food for your body. It means creating moments of silence, to disconnect from the external stream in order to hear your own internal signal, to trust your intuition more than your news feed. They have hacked the collective reality. But the key to your personal perception, to your inner universe, is still in your hands. And the act of taking it back is the quietest and most powerful revolution you can ever undertake. It does not start tomorrow. It starts right now. With a deep breath. With turning off the screen. With simple, profound awareness.